Hello there. So today we have Anna Meldrum, who is living in beautiful city, one of my favorite cities, Granada in Spain. And she has her business called Soltura Spanish. Please correct me if any of that was wrong or
All
mispronounced,
good,
Anna.
all
Good,
good.
good. I should know. I should be all right with the Spanish side of things anyway, being a former Spanish teacher myself. So Anna's teaching Spanish in Spain to to expatriates or people who've migrated to Spain, particularly in the Andalusia region. I'm going to continually call it Andalucía because that's just how I've learned it myself.
Yeah,
But I know in the English pronunciation we say Andalusia, don't we? So that's
yeah.
the southernmost part of Spain. Probably familiar with that area if you've been to Spain before. Um, and how long have you been doing that, Anna? Would you like to tell us a little bit about how you ended up there and how long you've been doing this for?
Of course, yeah. So, I studied Spanish and Portuguese at university, and Spanish has just always been like my obsession. I just absolutely have always loved Spanish. And my first job was actually a little Spanish club in a primary school in Belfast, where I'm from, and that's where I found out that I love teaching Spanish, and my kind of love for teaching grew a lot. And then I decided to move to Madrid after I finished university, and I started teaching English in academies there because I love teaching, but it was kind of the easy job to get as a native English speaker. Then I decided to move down south to Granada. I loved Madrid, but I just wanted a little bit more culture, better weather, and so I decided to make the move. And then I have been in Granada for 4 or 5 years. My first few years in Granada started out teaching again in English academies, things like that. Then I started an office job. Um, and and by chance this year, I stopped that office job and decided to start teaching Spanish online. Because English just wasn't kind of like igniting my passion as much as Spanish was. So I decided to do that and also to have more freedom to travel home more often, instead of being kind of stuck in a job here and tied to holidays and things like that. So that's kind of where I started, and I'm so glad that everything worked out the way it did, and I started my online teaching business.
Fantastic. So you're particularly interested, aren't you, in teaching English or any people from outside, not necessarily English speakers, perhaps, but not all English speakers necessarily, how to tackle the challenge of the sort of the dialect of Andalusia in particular, because it's quite a specific accent. I
Mhm.
remember having been spent substantial amounts of time there. You do have to tune your ear to it and even like learn how to adjust your Spanish in some respects. Would you agree? Is that so? So you've enjoyed helping people get to grips with that in particular, haven't you?
100%, yeah. And I think it's something that I have gone through a lot when I made the move from Madrid to Granada. I also au paired in Malaga in Nerja when I was 18 years old. And that I think was my first big shock of, wow, the Spanish here is a lot different than the Spanish that I've been learning in school and in uni. And yes, and just recently when I started my online Spanish teaching business, I started getting some students who saw that I lived in Granada and chose me because of that, because they also have connections to Andalucía. And they all say the same thing. They come and they say, I know Spanish. I feel like my Spanish is fine, but when I speak to a person from Andalucía, I don't understand anything, or the accent really throws me off, and there's all these big differences in this dialect, and I need a lot of help with that. And then I thought,
Yeah.
wow, like I need that to be my niche.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes the niche finds you, right? But
Yeah.
also it was the one that you felt where you could add the most value and you really enjoy getting to grips with that. It just gives
Yeah.
another dimension to teaching Spanish, doesn't it? And it makes you more the more unique. And this is one of the main principles of the 2 Hour Tutor program is like if people yeah, if people think you are, if they want something cheaper, then you're not positioning yourself as unique enough. So the more
Yeah.
specialist we become, the more coveted we become by people who want specific outcomes and specific things that you offer. So yeah, that you've done a great job there already. So what was happening with your business then before we started working together? You were teaching all one-to-one mainly, is that right? And where were your clients coming from, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I was teaching all one-to-one in some groups, but it was standard Spanish, general Spanish of everything,
Yeah,
whether it was conversation, exam prep, like job interviews, everything. And I was very, very burnt out from having to prepare so much outside the hour that they were paying me for. It
yeah,
was a lot of work. And, I thought at the end of the day, I can't just close my laptop when I'm finished teaching. I had to
yeah,
continue preparing the classes for the next day. I was finding my students from just kind of online advertising websites, word of mouth as well, and social media. But it was very slow and it was very difficult to have that steady kind of income and also finding students. And if one student stopped, then having to find another one. And it was just very difficult. So I was burnt out. I was a small bit lost as well. I didn't have that proper guidance that I knew that I really, really needed. But I also just wasn't sure that this was what I wanted my business to look like either or to feel like. So that's when I
yeah.
decided to seek extra help.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And like, I think we often can get to that point in our business where, we become the victim of our own success. We get booked out, we're busy,
Yeah.
but the business isn't working hard for you. You're working hard for everybody else, and
Hmm.
you hit capacity, and then before you know it, you hit burnout, and you can't see how you're going to backtrack and set it up differently. So what made you choose the 2 Hour Tutor Programme over doing this alone, and what was it that made you seek our help in particular?
When I first came across the Tutor Tutor program, I knew like straight away that it was what I wanted to do. The funny thing is, I actually came across the Tutor Tutor program in June. I started my business in May, and it was just a month
Yeah.
later. And I had everything saved on Instagram. I saved everything into a wee collection,
Oh
and
wow. Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna come back to this, and I did, and I started in October, I think it was, after
Yeah.
months and months and months of burnout. Like it kind of had to get
Yeah.
to that point, and then I knew that it was something that I wanted to do. I felt so comfortable with yourself, Ellie, with Mel, Terry, Kelly, everyone, and I just it was so obvious to me that you're also a professional in this field, and I really needed that extra guidance. I felt like there was lots of um there was things that were missing from my business, including kind of confidence in myself too, that I knew that if I had mentors and coaches that would help me to grow personally as well. And yeah, so I was looking for that extra guidance, and I definitely found it with you guys. And as soon as I had my first call with Mel, I was like, sign me up. I made my decision in the call or even before,
Yeah.
because I was watching these types of videos as well on the website, and they all really helped me make my decision too.
Absolutely, and we're really grateful that you're giving it back in a way. You told me that those videos of other people's discussions and honest conversations about the program helped you ultimately make that decision before you even almost before you got on the call, and then the call just becomes like just a sanity check, doesn't it? Just to make sure
Confirmation.
that
Mhm.
yeah, exactly, no, exactly. So you came from the position of being quite sure before you joined us, but was there anything that was a bit nerve-wracking or a bit of a stretch for you, or that felt like quite a big deal when taking the leap? Or was it just complete like, nah, I mean, it's fine, I'll figure it out?
Yeah, I think I had more that attitude as well. I was just like, yeah, I know that this is going to be worth it, and it's going to make my business grow in such an amazing way. And although it is daunting to make investments, I knew that I was making an investment in myself, in my business, and in my future. So I was so happy to invest in this. But of course, I did have little moments of, oh, it's is this the right thing? Which is only natural, I think, in any big decision that you make.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yes, I was, in from the get-go really, so it wasn't really a choice. It was a no-go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely get it. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. And
Mhm.
you talked about, you just touched upon, like, I knew that this would really help with my personal growth as well. Um, Tell us a little bit more about how, the mindset work that we weave into the process has
Mhm.
helped you, if you think you can. So obviously, you're still in the process, is what I
Yeah.
should mention. So Anna, you joined us in October. You'll be with us until, let me do the maths, November, December, January, April, maybe a
Yeah.
little bit longer. So um, you're still very much in the process. It's February right now. So how have you felt so far that has supported you?
It's been honestly like there's no amount of money that I could pay that I think would be worth the mindset work in the program. It's just so valuable. It's something that I really needed a lot of work with because I think that as a business owner, um, I get quite a lot of imposter syndrome, and I get moments where I'm thinking, why me? Why should people like listen to me? Why should people choose me? And I think that a lot of that comes from so many one-to-one classes and paying students paying for 1 hour. And before even I started teaching Spanish, as I said, I was teaching English and I did that online too. And I would, quote a price. Students who were interested, I'd quote a price, and that price was very, very, very low, extremely low for the hour. And even then, the students would say no, too much. And I think that that kind of went into my head, and it was hard for me to kind of um value myself at a price that I really believed I was worth. I was undervaluing myself quite a lot. So that's really helped too because we are professional in what we are doing in the program that we are
Yeah,
creating, and we're doing all of this training, and that as well is very valuable for clients. And I think that all of that needs to
absolutely.
go into the price. So
Yeah,
that's really helped me.
100%. It's a common phenomenon, isn't it, that as teachers we do undervalue ourselves, and we undercharge, and we over deliver, all of those things. And it's um it's the first thing we need to tackle. Like, one of the
Yeah.
things I felt we had to address when we started this program, like, gosh, like more than 5 years ago. Well, it was just me, and then it was that mindset. Like, I had to put myself in the shoes of a teacher. I was a classroom teacher myself for 10 years, and did very much was subjected to that sense of never being enough. And then
Hmm.
that I saw how that mindset really did sabotage my tuition business. I was undercharging and still feeling bad taking money from people, um, working beyond the hour, well over the hour that I was being paid for, and felt like that my marketing strategy was just to be a bit cheaper than everyone else. And
Yeah.
it's not a strategy. It's a strategy for, there's only one way down, and then that's down, isn't it? Downward spirals what then occurs. So um and we do a lot of work around pricing and how we can address that, because sometimes that becomes like almost fact in your mind, that there is no way I can break out of this because it's just the way it is.
Hmm.
And it definitely doesn't have to be that way. It
Yeah.
just does take a bit of reprogramming of our mindset in order to actually address that, though. And you're well on your way to doing that, which is brilliant. So um I would love to know, like, you mentioned that being on the program supported you with that side of things, and that you've enjoyed working with the coaches. So that's myself and Mel, who you met first of all, and you had your one-to-one with Terry, which was your personality profiling, which was quite early on as well. And then obviously support from Kelly as and when needed as well, who's our who does a bit of everything, all the tech and that kind of thing. Has that made a difference for you, just having different coaches who all specialize in something within the program and knowing where to go for certain things,
Definitely.
as opposed to just
That
one person for everything?
Yeah, yeah, it's so nice knowing that you always have someone there, like all the time. It doesn't matter whether it's, a weekday, morning, afternoon, or even weekends as well.
Yeah,
If something goes wrong or if you are having like a moment or you're stressed, or you needed some extra help, then all of you are always there, and it's just so helpful. And your advice and your knowledge is also so professional and specific to the different areas in which you all help us with. So it's so nice to know that you have that support in the background, that you're creating the program yourself. Obviously you don't do that for us, we do that, but you're guiding us, you're helping us, you're supporting us, and that's so helpful for me.
great. No, it's really glad to hear that. We come with our own specialisms as well within the program, and I think one of the things that people talk about a lot is how the tech support has been really beneficial, as well as the mindset, which is a little bit different as well, something we do a little bit differently. So thank you for sharing that. So, if somebody was watching this video or reading the blog, which will come with the video, and they see themselves in your story, what would you want them to know? So maybe they are thinking, is this going to be for me? Is this going to work? Maybe they're a bit nervous. Is there any reassurance you'd give them that, to help them decide which way to turn?
I would say if you're really considering this and you're willing to put in the work to have an amazing way to work within your business, then honestly go for it. If you're thinking of making this decision, the next few months are going to go by the same, whether you make this decision or not. So you may as well do something that's amazing for yourself and for your business. And I would say one of the best decisions that I've made. So definitely go for it.
Thank you, Anna. And that's right. I think that there is no time like the present, is there? And we can have nothing changes unless we make a change. So that I think you put that more articulately than I can. So thank you for that advice. And I know that you've still got a few months to go on the program, so maybe we can meet again, and bring you
Mhm.
back to share how those learnings have actually impacted your business. Because you're on your way now to launching your program, and you've got all your marketing pieces in place,
Mhm.
which hopefully means you can share now your business with us. For anyone who's watching, if anyone's watching this, reading this, and thinks, oh, I've got friends in Spain or in Andalusia, um, where would they go to find your program? And yes, maybe you could outline what kind of student would benefit from this, and what's their current sort of living situation. Is it that they're in Spain? Could you tell us a little bit about your program and how we can find out more about it?
Of course. Thank you. So my program is called, well, my business is called Soltura Spanish, and my website is solturaspanish.com, and on socials I am also Soltura Spanish. My program is going to be called Confidence in Andaluz, Speak, Connect, Belong. And it's for people who already know a bit of Spanish. It doesn't have to be super advanced, but they need to have that base. And they are also either living or preparing to move here or studying here, or they have some kind of connection to Andalucía, maybe a holiday home or something like that. So they spend a lot of time here. And they want to be able to really master the accent and also build their confidence, to be able to interact and immerse themselves in daily life and just enrich their experience in this beautiful place. I don't want anyone's Spanish to ever hold them back or limit them. And that's what I am trying to help people with.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Anna. And that's going to be delivered as a group program online. So it can accommodate people who are perhaps not yet living in Andalusia, but they would like to start preparing as much as it would suit people who are already there and in that situation. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank
We will have the links in the blog. So if you're watching this on our website, it's in the blog, and we'll have it in the notes and on YouTube as well. And we'll be sharing on our socials at some point in the near future also. So thank you, Anna, for giving up your time today to share your experience. I mean, I know that you know as better than anyone how valuable these conversations are for people when making big decisions like whether to join a 6-month program, because it is quite a commitment. But I'm
you.
so glad to hear it's one that you're very glad that you made, a decision that you made,
Yeah.
and we've still got a few months to go. So and so onwards and upwards from here. And it's just been so lovely working with you, Anna, and I'm excited for the next few months to see what they bring for your business as we continue to develop things together. So thank you, it's much appreciated.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Ellie. I love working with you as well.
Yes, very much mutual. Thank you, Anna.
Thanks, Ellie.